Okay, ready?
Yep.
And hey, welcome back to another episode of A to Z, you guys. My name is Zio Remsen. I'll be your resident Yang, and below me is my man Aaron Chase. He'll be your resident Yin. For those of you who don't know, that means I'm gonna be the light, airy, the positive, and he's gonna be the realistic, the truth, the what's the word? Not nihilist, not narcissist. There's an N word that means nepotism. No.
No,
Dark.
that would probably be the most accurate.
The closest, but
Yeah.
neither here nor there. He'll be the dark and I'll be the light. And we're here to talk about just stuff in general. Today's episode is happening, just to date ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
Today is May 30th, 2020. For those of you who don't have any idea that that date means anything, historically, eventually this will be something because we're in the midst of big things happening. Minnesota is going through a lot, and that's an understatement. If you recall in our history books, we've been here before. Rodney King, because the Rodney King riots in Cali, Ferguson, because the riots in Ferguson, and now Minnesota has had their own with, I can't remember his name right now. It's not Ahmad.
Oh,
It's
George Floyd.
George Floyd. George
Yeah.
Floyd, a young black man, got
And
killed,
he was young. He was in his 40s, I think.
40s.
I think so. He wasn't young, but still, regardless, I
Still,
mean,
I mean, still innocent black man got killed. So people are obviously outraged, and there's a lot of unrest going on over there, a lot of protests, a lot of rioting, and we pray for them. Hope all of that turns around and that justice gets served. I've heard some good news about it in certain regards. I've heard all the cops got fired, and that the main one is under arrest,
he
but
got charged.
everything else about that situation is still up in the air.
He
Uh,
got charged with third-degree murder.
Oh, third degree? See, I thought he would only get manslaughter because I thought they'd slap him on the wrist, but they got him with the full third.
Yep.
Okay, well, I mean, that's something. A tiny little ray of hope is that there is something's coming of it. And again, we hope that less tragedy keeps happening because I have been seeing a lot that's like pretty rough around that stuff. A lot of videos on the old feed of more injustice happening while this injustice is happening. But at the same time, there's also some positive too. I just read one that was like a group of black people protesters are protecting a cop who got separated from all the other cops from getting attacked by the other end. So, we try to find the silver lining and all that stuff. In the meantime, in the green time, we're going to talk about whatever comes to mind. We're going to try to we're going to try to bring up the air. Cause like right now, let's be honest, like everybody else is covering that. That's a very real thing, a very true thing. But we're going to be here and we're going to try to like alleviate because I just watched this special by I keep wanting to call her Heather, but it's Hannah Gadsby. She has a
Oh,
special on Netflix called Annette that's
yeah.
actually pretty dope. It gets pretty real near the end there, and I think she made a very good point that like that anger doesn't like help situations more times than not. That it doesn't really bring it up. It really causes more defense than anything. And so, we're gonna try to be and alleviate from that. So, we're gonna talk about something. I don't know what. Anything. Let's positive. What do you got positive, Aaron? I've been talking a lot. You got any?
To be honest, yeah, we're doing this on a rough day. Outside of the obvious riots and more black people being killed,
Yeah.
uh, I'm just not in a good mood because of. I'm going to keep it super vague and I'm going to keep it super short because,
Respectful.
yeah, part of it's not even really not only my business, but just basically a girl I like, and I don't think,
Aw.
yeah, well, not anymore. I don't think.
Oh wait, okay. So I know you said keep it short, and I'm gonna get off it because you said it's already in a bad place. Is it a girl you like who's making you upset? Is it something between the two of you is it an argument or is it something happening with somebody else, like a third member that you're like, oh, I'm sad.
It's not an argument. I would say misunderstanding and miscommunication,
Got
and I think more on my part, and I think that's why I feel especially low.
got
Is that
okay.
like, yeah, it's like of all the things I should be good at, it should be communicating efficiently. And I just,
I
and I
mean,
just,
we all got our things.
yeah, I don't think I did. And so, life learning things, I'll be fine. I've been in this rodeo before, but
Okay.
it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I mean, emotions are emotions. We're all human, and especially
Yeah.
when it comes to people who are close to us and those situations. It really gets rough. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start. So here are the two barriers that we'll try to avoid to keep this happy.
Okay.
Um, we got, and these are the watch these giant circles we have to avoid. It's being black, being in danger,
Yeah.
and girls. so
That's
so
like,
it's real. That's a lot of who we are, Aaron. There's a lot of overlapping circles. But I'm gonna find a way. Okay, so here's my first out. First out. I've never
okay.
like we've talked a lot about our back history. We've talked about our thoughts. But as far as like you, I say I have a pretty good idea of you, and you have a pretty good idea of me. I didn't know you had a TV there.
Yeah.
So, but what we're gonna do super basic talk. So we're gonna do like first datey questions, like the super cheesy. Like what's your favorite food?
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. I haven't been asked that since since I was like 16. Yeah.
Like, it's such an old question. There is like certain things that like you just I don't know if it's you stop caring about it or like what happens, but somewhere between being like a middle schooler and like an adult, you lose like caring about like what's your favorite color. Like no, nobody really talks about what their favorite color is.
Favorite food. Uh, I don't eat a lot. I don't eat a lot, right?
No, don't you work out?
Yeah, I work out.
I thought that was a part of it. Like I thought if you're a workout person, you need more energy to burn, so you eat more.
I guess that
Don't
would.
work out at all. That's as far as my knowledge goes.
Yeah, no, I have an eating disorder.
Oh, see, this is interesting. Not positive. not positive. Aaron already, man, just really holding up to that yin part of this show. Just
Yeah,
like, all right, we're gonna start positive. Food. I have an eating disorder. Thanks, buddy.
it
Cool.
wouldn't it wouldn't be A to Z if I didn't drag us down into the
That's
muck.
true. That's true, and that's
Um,
what the people have you here for. But
to
okay.
to
So
summarize,
what is okay?
yeah, to summarize it, basically, and these are my theories. I didn't have any control in my life. Food happened to be one thing I had some mild control over. And I think it manifests itself into me just not wanting to eat in general.
Okay.
And I was also really skinny. And so when I would eat, my mom would give me these huge portions, like rice and shit, because that's one of the things I would eat. And I would have to eat it all, but I would have to eat it really fast so that I could eat all of it because it was a lot. And before I realized I was hungry, like before I realized I was full, I would need to finish everything. You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay.
And so now when I eat foods that are supposed to be hot, like if I'm trying to eat pizza, if it is not scalding hot, I generally do not want to eat it.
Interesting.
And I don't eat a lot of things. I eat. This is a big reason why I smoke weed. It helps me eat. I eat like pizza, French fries. I eat Caesar salad. Caesar salads are dope.
Caesar salad.
Salad.
You are the opposite of me. I'm gonna get into mine, and I not even a little bit. I have to force myself. My diet is literally anything green is pretty much like you know how like there are different diets that are like, oh, here's this diet. I don't eat anything that a fish wouldn't eat, like that type of thing. Mine's is
Yeah.
like accidentally that, but unhealthy. Like anything green pretty much doesn't go in me unless it's like dyed like a gummy bear.
So yeah, green Skittles, green M&Ms.
Yeah, those are the loopholes. Everything else, except I do, but that's the thing. I do like green beans, but even then, it kind of has to be cooked in that bad Southern unhealthy way, where it's like, oh, it's green beans, but we put bacon and butter in it. It's like I don't feel like that's green beans anymore. I feel like that's bacon and butter.
It feels like the South, everything they do to their food clogs arteries, no matter how healthy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is
Yeah.
why I love it.
Dip it in.
You ever had deep fried carrot? But yeah, no, I mean, that's why I love the South, but it also will be the death of me if I don't get on it. I'll tell you again, I am not like happy. I am happy when I'm eating it. The after effects of me eating it, like I am also skinny. It is also a thing that I have happenstancely, and it's slowly wearing off. Like it's lumping over in weird places that nobody
Work
knows.
out.
Huh?
You should work out.
Oh yeah, I recently found some YouTube videos that I've been getting into that are pretty intense for me, but I gotta ease my way into that because if I try to hit the wall running, then I'll vomit like everything that I have. But
I
anywho,
oh, I can send you the stuff that I do.
oh okay, yeah, send me that. What are your things?
I it's gonna seem intense when you see the clip. It's not. It's all right. It's a guy called Bully Juice.
Oh, I saw him. Yeah, yeah, no. Like I was recently I was gonna do his. He's really like I like that he explains his very concisely.
Yeah,
Like his he has one on like arms where
yeah,
like immediately when I saw it, he did look intense. His very first workout is like this outward arm like push up like that, and I was like, that already looks horrible. I can't. There's no world where I start. That's where you started, like 3 seconds in. But yeah, I do respect. He does have the body that I kind of emulate. I mean, he's a
yeah.
little bit more muscular than I want to be, but I could clearly like stop when he actually starts helping me. Again, it's kind of that thing of like, like how people like to go to the extreme to not even start. It's like, I don't want to get super jacked like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, so I won't even do one push up. It's
Yeah.
like, you're nowhere near close, and I'm in that ballpark. But I have seen him, and I probably will start using him too.
Positive, a positive thing, Zero.
Okay, you found it. He found it, guys. He found a positive, and all the darkness he weeded through. Oh, let's wait for it though. Don't want to hype you up. Where's it going?
Who knows where this road will take us down? Stand-up comedy, man.
Oh, okay.
I my when I first started doing, I'm concerned for every comic when the first open mics start because holy shit, when I first started doing street stand-up, it was clunky. Like it was all over the place. But now it's been about, I think it's been like a week or two now of doing it pretty consistently. And I'm starting to build material again. I'm getting a flow again. But it's starting to make me realize like most comics, when they come back, it's going to be a long time before they get that groove because you're doing it for 3 to 5 minutes again. Like hours to be like, all right, let me get back to what it was. So I think when people get back, it's going to be rough. But for me personally,
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready for when we go back to
Oh, you feeling confident? You feeling good? You feeling spicy? Some guy. Oh, go ahead.
It's like the material has improved. It like I feel like because I've changed a lot, the material has elevated, and the way you go about it doesn't seem as scripted. Feels more honest. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff I used in the past that I'm carrying over, but I'm even extrapolating on that. It's been good.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you've been posting it a lot more doing street stand-up, and it's very interesting. I figured as much because of the conversation we had last time and just the innate nature of how you do it. But it's also interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about it. I actually had this thought earlier or like 2 days ago that I really kind of, and it's meta because I'm not saying I'm doing great either. Like I'm doing my little bit that I can, which is like freaking I do my bits and then I just throw up the rough of like every Friday, here's my new one that I've been working on throughout the week. Or like sometimes I don't even spend that much time on it, but that's just to keep me even in the mindset of like thinking of jokes and doing things. It's like I literally had a day where I just, how you get on your like, not, it's kind of jealous, but it's kind of curiosity jealousy where I'm like, what is everybody else doing? Like, what are all the other stand-up comics doing during this time? Because we have been like not doing anything, like because none of the bars are open. So I was like,
Yeah,
what is everybody doing? So I went down this rabbit hole and I like saw like nobody was doing anything. Like nobody was doing anything. Y'all
George
work
said.
too hard. You consider this work? We're just talking. This is riffing. But yeah, it's like nobody has any. Now, to be fair, everybody has, like you said about street stand up. It's like everybody has that fear of putting themselves out there. And to be fair, like on social media, putting out that you're doing stand up, especially in these times, like you're kind of burning material. It's kind of even hard to even say you're working on material. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like that I see nobody posting anything. Flappers does them. Oh yeah, that they have the Zoom chats. But I haven't really jumped in on that, and I don't really know if I rock with it personally. I just feel
I think that good for people for finding an outlet, but from my opinion, Zoom, doing the shit on Zoom, it just doesn't. It's not the same.
yeah, see, I've never tried, so I can't give my opinion on it yet. But I feel like to me, like yeah, the innate delay. I just have more relationship stuff. Yeah, no, I saw. Yeah, Greg, didn't you get? This is another comic in the comments. You guys can't see it. I'm explaining for those who have never seen the show. This is A to Z. We have a chat that happens because we live stream these, and they say stuff, so we have to read them and then tell you. Those Zoom ones are rough. Yeah, because I figure from the Zoom chat version of doing open mics or any sort of show, it's like there's a delay between you and your laughs, and that just throws, like, everybody knows that's the classic rule, quote unquote, of comedy, is that it's timing. And so like that. Oh,
Oh, I have something positive. Go ahead. Keep going.
okay. Well, I'm glad you're stacking them. I knew we just had to get the dominoes falling, and eventually they'd all come together. But yeah, the comedy is so much timing and so much reacting off of your audience and going with the flow that, in a weird way, you could make an argument that it should make us stronger. That, like, without an audience, not being forced, like not being connected to that laugh. That, like, okay, you're fine to sit in the silence because you're gonna get silence regardless, because innate nature of how it works. That will make you strong, but then it also makes you weaker because we kind of ride the wave of emotions. It's like it's good to know where your audience is and how to adjust to them and all that stuff. I'm preaching to the choir because I know like 80% of our audience is also comics. But if any of y'all, like, I don't know, it's interesting to see like everybody trying to find a way within our current system. Now, to be fair, beaches are opening, and I know you talked about this in the last episode that you were afraid more people were going to do street stand up. I have seen some comics in Hollywood that are doing, they're not doing street, they're doing beach. Like they're out at the beach doing stand up, and I'm like, okay, I hear it, I see.
Posters. I'm in the shit.
You in the streets, they in the beach. But
Yeah.
I mean, get it where you can get it. Oh, my mom was here. If you're still here, love you. Appreciate your support.
Zero's
I think
mom.
she might be gone.
We have to have this conversation.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's gone?
Yeah, I just checked the. Yeah, I should have called it out when I saw her in here. But
Next time she shows up, I want to talk to her about how she was such a good mother. How did she do that? That's magic.
I'm trying to be a good mother in my future.
Good. Positives.
Positive. You said second positive.
Second positive. My audience. I think I'm figuring out what my audience seems to like about me.
Okay.
I was a little bit of a negative. The girl.
You had it and then you lost it. It immediately went down. Okay, go ahead.
It's like, oh god. Anyway, the girl that I liked or whatever.
That's so adorable.
Yeah.
Like we're 27. we're like.
Yeah.
I had a crush on a girl. Sorry, go ahead.
It sucks, man. I really liked her.
Yeah, listen, I'm making fun of you, but I'm not gonna lie. I matched with this girl who's freaking, like you know how somebody's just your type. Like
Yeah.
it's like she's messing with me on like a core level where I'm thinking about her way too fast and way too much, and I'm aware of it, and I'm
Yeah.
like I'm checking it too many times a day, and I gotta find other stuff to make me not check it, and I'm overthinking simple text messages. But it's like it feels good to like be in that space. But you know, it is what it is. I get you, but I'm making fun of you because that's what we do. Men.
All right. Yeah. So I was doing this stand up thing, and she was around, and we were talking about it afterwards, and she was explaining to me that like the people that seem to gravitate towards me are crazy people, and and it's pretty evident too. And they gravitate with me because this is what she was saying, is because I articulate what's in their head to normal people in a way that normal people understand.
Okay.
And so I started to realize when I was doing the street stuff.
You're a good translator for crazy.
Yeah. Which is scary in a lot of ways because who wants their fan base to be insane? But
that's gonna be hard to wrangle.
Yeah, I don't want to go out like Selena or anything, but yeah. So she was just saying, like, I'm articulating these like thoughts that, or I don't know how to describe it exactly because I'm still digging through it, but apparently I'm articulating things that a certain sect of people can't articulate for themselves. Fuck, that's the dream. What's the dream?
I assume having a fan base that's crazy.
They're
a little delayed, so
Yeah.
you got to kind of remember what you said.
But it's interesting, and I think I'm going to keep leaning into that. Like, even having a fan base that's crazy. I think the awkward part is like trying to have a line, having a boundary, because crazy people don't understand boundaries at all. Yeah. And so creating that boundary while also being respectful, I don't know, but it's cool, man. It's cool seeing the ball rolling. I have and one more positive. I'm getting there.
Hey, he found another. That's three. Aaron's on a roll today, you guys. He's just knocking them out of the park.
So I like Keanu Reeves right now. Just all these movies. Fuck, what was I saying?
I'm like, what era? Do you mean John Wick? Do you mean when did he have back to back?
He has John Wick 1, 2, and 3, and then he has they're making the new Bill and Ted, The Matrix, and another John Wick movie, 4 movie.
Wait, I'm sorry. Are they making another Bill and Ted?
They made it one. Yeah, they're gonna release it.
Is he in that?
Yeah. I'll show you pictures later.
Okay, I'm like, I do not remember him in that movie at all.
Are you serious?
Unless I'm mixing it up with who's the one that there's this movie that's like kind of a horror comedy where they are wacky and they accidentally get like people killed. Is that Bill and Ted? Am I crazy? Okay, never mind. Anyway. I might be thinking of a totally different series. Neither here nor there. You're Keanu Reeves. You're positive.
Positive. I was listening to Rogan and Kevin Hart podcast, the episode, and Kevin Hart. I love that man.
He is respectable. I mean, again, it's like you could say what you want about him, but man, he freaking changed. He did something for the game. He's one of our dude. Like Dave is like our dude, but then right under him is Kevin. Like Kevin made huge moves and changed how people view comics. Like again, he's the first in a long time to make that rock star thing that people like pass out for Kevin. That people are like, he's the only one with like commercials that are like freaking pay like, and for stuff that like comics are not a part of, like freaking Old Spice. Like that's the thing I keep seeing, and I'm like, good. I mean, I respect the hustle. He really is, and he's a testament to hard work, man.
You were thinking of Tucker and Dale.
You were, man. Good job, Mike. Thank you, Carly. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
So Kevin Hart was talking about how life has a game-like quality to it, and so I just decided to take that very literally for stand-up comedy. So I've decided, like, I'm looking at Instagram. I don't like social media. I don't get it. I don't generally post things unless I'm about promoting myself.
Yeah, I turned a corner like a year ago. I used to be very anti-social media too, but then I saw it was working way too well, both for me and everybody else. And so I was like, I got to get on the train.
I guess what I mean is, like, if I wasn't doing stand-up comedy, I wouldn't really utilize it.
If I wasn't doing anything in the entertainment industry, then yes.
So he was saying game-like mentality. So I decided for my Instagram, right now I had 800 that I went down. I'm now 799. I want my high score. What's up?
Is that still good numbers?
Yeah. It's getting there. And every time I do street stand-up, I go up 1 or 2, and then it goes.
Yeah.
But Mike, I'm gonna make a high score. My high score is 1,000. That's like my goal right now. I feel
Okay.
like doing that puts this. It makes it more fun. It makes it less frustrating to
Right.
gamify it. To be like, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna eat the ghosts,
Yeah.
Pac-Man, and I'm gonna get all the points or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's been positive, positive,
Yeah.
positive.
That is good. I also find that in general, there's some like it is just personally me. I feel like there are life principles. I call them the God principles that kind of stretch through everything. And I do believe one of the lower end principles is the idea of when you don't take things as seriously, when you allow them to be, when you just kind of like you do view it as fun, when you enjoy. One of my old teachers used to say, when you enjoy the process, like that's when you get what you want. Like when you're there and you're like chasing it and you're like, I gotta get to the end. I gotta get to the end. That's when it's like sucky and the journey's like an uphill battle that you're struggling with. But when you're
Yeah,
like, man, I just like reaching out. I just like the process of reaching out. And then he's like, oh, I got an apple today. Oh, I got an orange. That's crazy. And it's like it's just a nice thing that and it kind of echoes this other one. Is like you get what you don't. People think like you get what you need when you need it. It's more like you get what you need when you don't need it. like you get what you need when you don't need it. So like when you have everything handled, when you
hmm
have yourself handled, life will just start dropping stuff on you. When you need it really badly, life is like, nah, we don't mess with that needy energy.
it's like a girl.
Yeah, yeah. Life is like a very, very, very
Fickle.
not even a complex. I would say one to one, like a simple girl. Like it's
Yeah,
like basic, just like when you're not freaking all up under me, love you. I
yeah,
love that. When you're
yeah.
on your thing and I can just be along for the journey, dope. But when you need me and you can't live without me, like I gotta go. Like you're all I gotta go. And so
That's
that's why. Oh, go
that's
ahead.
actually where I'm at with this situation. I'm trying to be like, okay, you know what? Okay, and just back
Yeah.
off. But another positive.
Mm.
I'm
For
killing.
for you guys, Quattro, we got a fourth positive.
Yeah, killing it today. Remember first person and third person?
Yes, I do.
So I realized that when I go in third person, a lot of the times it goes between auditory and visual.
Okay.
And I know that sounds strange, but like when I'm in auditory third person, it is not fun. It's a voice that is yammering at me and distracting me. And
Okay.
visual first person or visual third person can also not be fun depending on the situation.
Okay.
But visual first person is helping me with writing jokes and being funny. Like
Okay.
I was talking to KJ, you know KJ, right? KJ Robinson.
Mhm. Yeah.
When I
I
first
didn't
talked,
know little tiny I guess you could call it the plug. I didn't know because I logged into the A to Z SoundCloud. Um he followed on A to Z. He like liked and he followed us. And then I went on his and I didn't know he had a SoundCloud. I also didn't know he had 3 tracks on there with him doing stand up. They're really old, but they
yeah,
are on there. And it's very interesting to see. It's like when you go down the rabbit hole of like, oh, people do post stuff online. It feels like every comic when they first start is like too afraid to post. Then they post, it doesn't blow up, and then they let it go, and then they don't touch it. And so it's like, and the same with you and the whole doing street stand up. I'm doing stand up at home because I feel like I have to because I have to get it out somewhere somehow. Now, to be
yeah,
fair, you could also make an argument I could probably do it much more consistent if I use my story. But neither here nor there. I also feel like that same thing of like it's gonna grow. I know it's uncomfortable. You can feel it in the videos the way that I do it right now. But the more that I do it, the better I get at it, and the better I get at it, the stronger it will be overall. It's like
yeah,
one of those like, you start on level 1 and you get to level 3. But
yeah.
sorry, what were you saying?
Visual. So
Yeah, you're first to third person visual. Okay.
yeah,
So when you're a
and
visual first person, it helps you write for stand up because
uh, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
oh no, things are happening. All right, guys. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate you guys watching us do this thing. Andy's back.
Okay, sorry, the wind is crazy.
It was
It
the wind.
moved the door open like I'm in Poltergeist, but visual. So when I was talking to KJ how long ago, he was talking about like how to riff and how to extrapolate an idea, and he said it's like you're painting a picture, you're making a movie for the audience. But when I would go in third person and I would try to make that movie with an auditory thing with words, and that's harder to do. But when I click into it visually and I just picture stuff, I can point out things. It's almost like, have you seen Mystery Science Theater?
A long time ago.
Okay, you know the concept. They play a movie and then so like when it's auditory, if I'm making a joke or we're riffing or whatever, if I'm thinking auditory, it's like words with no discernible connection. But if I think about it visually, it's like, oh, okay, so now this, I'm going to point out this and this and this, and then I can make fun of these things. It's weird, but it's working.
Interesting. And when did you have this? Was this during street stand up that you were like, whoa?
Yeah. I was doing street stand up, and something happened. This is why I'm saying like it's going to be really hard for comics coming back. Like really, because I'm out there for hours being able to slowly get it all back. When you're only doing it 3 to 5 minutes, it's like it's going to be hard.
Yeah, no, it's essentially. I think you guys mentioned it a while ago. Again, another plug on Night Guy and Baldy, where you guys were talking about the before Corona, after Corona thing.
Oh yeah,
like, it is essentially, especially if you're doing nothing. Again, there's always something that you could be doing, and I think I'm doing on the low end. I think you're doing a like more concise, like actually exercising than I do, like a push up ever so often. Like that's the equivalent like metaphor that I'm gonna use. Is because like I feel like if you're not doing anything, even if you took the time to like memorize your jokes again, when it starts back up, you essentially reset. Like you reset, and you gotta like learn stage presence again. You gotta learn holding a mic again. Like like it might as well be year zero, kind of like in a very meta way. And maybe some people, again, this isn't a catch-all. There are people who are special, and like they'll probably click into it. But for the majority of us, I think it is going to be a very interesting time to see like, oh, you didn't work on that, huh? Like you went to sleep the whole time. Like, and I'm not saying I'm not one who doesn't go to sleep, and I won't be behind a lot of the people, because again, at the same time that I see a lot of comics who aren't doing anything, there's also a good couple of comics who, like, my friend has made the joke, it's like, you like how George came in, it's like you guys don't stop. It's like you need to, like, you should sit down. There's a time to sit down. You can sit down. And I'm like, yeah, I could, but also I kind of don't wanna. Not really. Like, again, I got the freedom. Like, why wouldn't I? I don't know. It's just, I do stand up because I like it. I'm not doing stand up because it's my job yet. Like, it's not like a stress, and one day it will be, and hopefully that doesn't come with the stressfulness that makes me not want to do it. But in the meantime, while I'm free, while I don't have people breathing down my neck, while I don't owe people a show, like, I like that I can do it for the joy, the love of the craft.
For me, I did sit down for a while, but me sitting down wasn't me getting lazy with stand up. Like, it was like me working on myself then just made me a better comic. And a happier person in general, I'd say.
And there's a time and place for all of it. Like, yeah, there's like work hard, but also relax. Because if you don't, then everything will just zoom by. You'll stress yourself out. You won't even, like you said, it's like you're a better comic because you took the time to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, then like you're suffering for the art, and it's not even supposed to be that.
I've hit this place of, it's really nice. I've hit this place of like really, really not giving a fuck about other people's opinions of me. And and I think like I'm gonna have to make sure I continue to control that when we go back to normal, because I'm gonna have to deal with people again. But this time of like, there's this realization that hits when you don't have to see anybody. You don't have to deal with anybody, and you can, where you get to sit into yourself and you get to really like marinate on who you are and why you do the things you do. and what's good, what's bad about it. And I think Kevin Hart said it again. He said something like, I'm not playing this game against anybody else. It's just me. That's all it is. And that's kind of how I look at it. I'm playing the game against me. Fuck it, not fuck everybody else, but like.
But I get, yeah, you get the mentality.
Everybody else can do what they want to do, but I'm playing my game.
Right. And like, if you want to view it like a competition, I mean, you can, but it's kind of that Drake line of like, you say that we're beefing, dog, but you on your own. Like, it's fine. And because people are going to find a way to do that, but it's like, that's their thing. But yeah, that is good. That is a good thing that, like, it's very interesting. So what would you say is the difference you're experiencing from pre COVID-19 material to now street stand-up? What would you say is it the reaction from the audience that you're feeling is like making it feel different? Is it a stronger thing? Like, do you just feel more centered?
Before it was far more rigid, and I did that on purpose. I think I told you my plan, my arc that I was going to make.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually went in phases. It went from when I first started doing stand-up, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Then it went to, I'm going to make an hour about relationships, because that was literally my whole life.
Okay. That makes sense.
What's up?
I said makes sense.
Okay. Then after my breakup, it went from that to I'm going to talk about my life from beginning to where I'm at now, to show that progress, to kind of express to people why I am the way I am. Then it went from that to now, which is I'm just going to talk to you about what I'm thinking about. And it seems as though if I do that, there's going to be a looseness about it. It's going to feel more natural. But it's also going to have structure in that now that I understand what I give a shit about and what I'm thinking about all the time, these are the topics, these are the lanes I'm going to be in just naturally. So it's just a lot more natural.
Do you feel like in doing that you've figured out, or like you're more, like what you were trying to build was a different version of you, and the you that you are now is not that same person. So in doing the, like, talking about what you're thinking about at the time is more connected to who you actually are right now, as opposed to harking back to who you were.
It's that, and it's also that what I was doing before that arc was me trying to explain myself to people.
Okay.
You've seen Goodfellas, right?
Recently, actually. Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was a good movie. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's Goodfellas. It had been spoiled for me front to back by all modern media, but I was still along for the ride, and I still like pretty much every minute of it. Like, it had a lot of the scenes that has always been referenced. You know how, like, how your friend will explain a joke? Like, it's like your friend will explain something they saw, and that friend's explanation so funny, and then you'll go and look at it, and you're like, oh,
damn it.
Well, Fly's got him. Fly's putting them back in a negative headspace, you guys.
I got this.
Oh, he's got a swatter.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Oh, he got it. Did you get it?
I don't think so.
Well, he's prepared now, Fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's essentially that idea that, like, I've had it explained to me my whole life, and then I finally saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I get why people would fall in love with this. And again, the more me and my friend, me and Dro, we went down the rabbit hole of just watching Scorsese films in general, and he definitely has a tone. It's just like mobster mentality back to back and all the stuff. I was like, oh, that's his thing. Okay, I didn't know that was his thing. I just knew him as a famous director who did a or two mob movies, and I was like, okay. But I rock with it. It was very interesting. I also didn't think that was Joe Pesci's character. I didn't realize that's what that character was. I thought his character was like this is just a part of the mob mentality. There's always the guy who's a little bit like on edge, but it's like, no, he's actually like messed up in the head. Like he's not okay. Like his views of killing people, like almost sociopathic, if not fully sociopathic.
Funny
but
how.
Then again, Jimmy isn't too much better. Like,
it's but the transition. So like,
yeah.
What I was doing was trying to explain myself. It was like, it was feeling like Goodfellas. Okay, it's explaining like here's how a person goes from here to here, and I think concept is interesting. Like artistically, is an interesting concept, but in terms of what stand-up comedy is and where I just am, I don't feel the need to explain myself to anybody anymore. I think that
good. I said that's good and also interesting. So how do you find yourself communicating now? If before was explaining yourself, how are you telling those? Are you telling the same stories, or are you just not even bothering to like? Do you find yourself even doing past, like not past material, but like material about who you are or where you come from or like how you got to where you are?
yes, but there's a different vibe to it now. It doesn't feel like I'm explaining.
Do you care about? Do you care like to like
Yeah.
like what's one example? Like give me a pre-joke and a post-joke.
Pre-joke.
Or
Okay.
you don't really have to give me a pre. I remember you pre, so you can honestly just give me a pro. I was really saying pre for the people watching.
I'll tell you. Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you one of the things that has been working out kind of consistently.
Okay.
And this is actually you'll see why I've come to realize my audience is my audience. You'll see.
Okay.
So through quarantine, I'm in joke mode now, just so you know.
Okay. And joke.
So through quarantine, I've realized that I'm an unstable person, and that's okay. I've accepted it. I think that, but I think that unstable people attract other unstable people. Like have you ever been to a Denny's at 3 a.m.? It's crazy. It's crackheads and theater kids running amok. They're just harassing some poor waitress who's trying not to get deported. That's what it is. I have Denny's at 3 a.m. energy that comes around me, but I've accepted it. One of the things I've realized is that the world needs crazy people. We need crazy people because the crazy people are the ones that innovate. Like for example, in 1885, the first car was made. 18 years later, the Wright brothers saw that car and was like, let's take this bitch to the sky. Let's see what we can do. We're going to snap on some wings. We're going to fly off a cliff like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Let's rock this. And without those crazy people, we wouldn't have the magic of flight. It comes down to good and bad crazy. There's good crazy and there's bad crazy. Good crazy does things like invent the iPod or college dropout. Good crazy. Bad crazy invents ovens that hold human beings and treats elementary schools like a game of Call of Duty. That's bad crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember. Okay. Yeah, I remember that joke pre-quarantine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I totally see where that's different.
It's just there's a flow to it now.
Yeah.
Sure, feels good.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and the whole not caring. It really came down to how extreme all of this was, especially in the beginning. Like before the riots and everything, before all that stuff, when we were hit, I want to say a week into quarantine was when people were feeling it. They were like, oh, this is going to be a while. Everyone, there's a scramble. The
shift was happening, so people were uneasy about the change. But yeah.
And during that shift, everybody was doing what they were doing. And I remember there are people that checked in on me. And this is going back to that. There were people that wanted to make sure I was okay and were thinking of me. And there were people that weren't. And when you're in day-to-day life and you just have to live and you're not, the world's not so extreme, you don't get to see very clearly, like, you're on my side, you're not on my side, and you just don't give a fuck about me in general. Right. So now that I can finally see that easily, like very easily, I'm like, okay, I have like not proof, but I have like factual moment in time where this person who I thought gave a fuck about me did not express how they gave a fuck about me. So I'm not, and I like to reiterate this. I know I sound aggressive when I say this stuff, but I'm not angry at it. I get that like you're living your life, and if I'm not in your head, I'm not in your head, and that's fine. Right. But I'm not in your head, and I'm gonna remember that because of like there's fucking. I know you didn't have to deal with it as much as I did when Buddy System was going, But
Yeah.
there are fucking snakes out there, man.
Nah.
Like snake mother, like Adam and Eve with the apple slithering through, trying to fuck your life up. There's snakes out there, and it has become insurmountably easier to see who the snakes are and
Mhm.
to see who my friends are and to see who's neutral.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, this is gonna sound again. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit in the crazy myself, but because everybody watches this movie and for a second thinks that they are. But I didn't watch the whole movie. That's not fair. I started watching clips, and when you go down the clip rabbit hole, it's hard not to really like it. Snake
Snake.
emoji, nice. Um, but I started watching the Heath Ledger's Joker clips,
Mm.
and the boy may be a psychopath. He may be a sociopath, but he makes some good points. His whole thing.
I can't remember.
One of his main things, I'm trying to remember. I don't want to jack up the line, but I mean, you could watch it. They're all on YouTube. Essentially, it was like when the chips are down, like people will turn on each other. These people are cannibals. They are
Yeah.
not your friend. And like the whole thing of his whole arc throughout the movie, and not even arc, but just what he's trying to prove with his insanity is that people call him crazy, but he's like the natural stage of evolution of man. He's just ahead of the curve. Everybody is him, just not in the situation where they're forced to not be fake. So
Right.
like he's just trying to prove, oh, everybody's me. You think I'm so crazy? Even pre-quarantine, personally, I felt like was way too short, and it sucks when you don't take the time to appreciate your friends and the people that are around you. That
I
was a
agree.
comment from the
I
man Sanchez. But yeah,
agree,
so
James.
so yeah, it's just that idea that you were saying, where it's like when the chips are down, in that scramble, when everybody was trying to figure it out and freaking out, you see who's with you and who's not with you, and what people will do when it's time to scramble, and how they are snakes or not. And it's very interesting. And yeah, like you said, I've never had to deal with that because, to be fair, I don't think I've ever had anything people have wanted from me. Like people have never felt the need to trick me because there's never been anything to gain from tricking me.
Right.
But you, as somebody who's a power in the buddy system, did have that and do in some way. Sorry, go ahead.
James says, with that being said, I made it a point to check in with people so much more, even if it is just a check in. And James, it's appreciated. We check. He's one of the people that I would put in my roster of like, oh, okay, you give a shit about me.
Yeah.
Versa.
Well, that's good. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Yes. The other thing that I've been trying to do is create boundaries with that. That like, so for example, with James, we're not talking every single day. And
Right.
if I'm not in a good mood, or if I'm not in a place, if I'm in a place where I need to be alone, I express that. I say like, this is nothing personal to you. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not. I just I have my own things going on, and I need to deal with it.
Right.
And I didn't have that before because it felt like I was being torn every which way. There's so many things, and now there's nobody pulling me anywhere. I can just
Right.
exist, and it feels good.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice to make that time for yourself first and foremost. I mean, yeah, in the scramble of the world in general, even before all the tragedy, is like it is hard to sometimes distinguish when are you being selfish and you're not you in taking care of yourself are really not caring about others and like all their stuff, or is it self-love? Is it taking that time to yourself, understanding that you do need to self-evaluate, or you just need space? Sometimes you just need space. Everybody just needs to be in their things sometimes, but deal with what they are. And so it is
Yeah,
what it is. It's good
yeah,
that we're all, again, I think on some level, as dark as all the stuff that happened with quarantine has been or is, there's a lot of positive that has come from like everybody having to slow down for a second, that we haven't like been on the hamster wheel of like, I gotta pay rent. And it's like, I gotta make my dreams come true so I can stop paying rent as hard. And it's like it's just interesting that self-love has become self-love, self-care, all the mental stuff that people have had to deal with, like since everything has stopped and you don't really have that noise of distraction of the world.
Hmm.
It's very interesting. Sorry, you seem like you were gonna say
But this is a negative.
something. Okay.
We
Brace
had a
yourself, everybody.
good streak. Um, I'm nervous about. You remember we were talking about how street stand up's a little dangerous?
Yes.
I'm getting more nervous about it because of what's going on.
Mm.
Like I didn't realize Redlands was as conservative as it was.
Huh.
And
Yeah, Redlands doesn't strike me as a conservative place, but I'm only over there to club ever.
it is far more conservative than I realized. And you can like, how do I put it? People are really, they're not predictable sometimes when they're mad.
Yeah.
And like,
I was just talking to my friend about, not to interrupt you, to keep your thought, but I was just talking to my best female friend, white Caucasian girl, and we were talking about the whole the difference in the world where, like, because one of the main stories that has come out of the Minneapolis stuff that's been going out on, I almost said the Minneapolis things that are going on Appolis, but all the stuff that's going on, one of the main stories that's been coming out is people being like, oh, they're looting Target and they're doing stuff to AutoZone, and those have become the poster childs of like, well, if you're looking at that, then you don't care about the tragedy, and it's become a weird side quest distraction from the main issue that's going on. And one of both of our main arguments was just that, like, yes, we understand, like, her argument was, hey, why is that happening? Like, why Target? Because Target isn't, like, they're not with the police. They're not, like, I understand setting fire to the police station because that's the police station. That's the people you're against. But why did looting Target happen? And I was like, I don't think the Target thing was like an on purpose thing. I think that was a like collateral damage of the riots itself. But since it happened, that was more of a like, when people are angry, people do stuff. Like, when people are angry, when riots break out, what is to stop your human brain from being like, and this place, and that place? And not to say that it's right, but in the midst of anger, and the way she described it is like, yeah, I could see where that would make somebody, like, I could see where all the stuff that's been happening would drive somebody insane, how you describe feeling insane. And I'm like, well, in insanity, can you see being angry and things not making sense? And she's like, yeah, I understand that. And I'm like, that's how you end up getting at Target. And that's essentially what you're saying. When people are pushed into angry mode, we're not our best selves when we're in anger mode. And it doesn't matter how much you're not even doing that. Like, you're not, I don't even know. Now, to be fair, you could be riffing about it, but even if you were, free speech and all that jazz. But it's like, if you're on the street and you're a black man with a speaker, and even if you have everything that says, I'm doing stand up, this is clearly me joking, and I'm not even talking about the subject, just the fact that you're a black man and you are on, like, and you're talking into a loud thing, you're talking into the boomstick, it feels like you must be saying something about the thing that's clearly affecting you, or like that. It's kind of the other side of that coin of, like, I don't know if you've seen this on social media, this like weird reverse shaming where it's like, if you're posting anything other than about what's going on in Minneapolis, you're a bad person. And so that's kind of the opposite mentality. It's like, you must be talking about it because you're that. And so they get angry at you, and you can see where the escalation goes. And so I get what you're saying.
Yeah, man, the place I'm at. So I think I told you that. Did I tell you about the Dave Chappelle quote?
Oh,
what?
Never mind. I thought you meant the cops from the last time, like even before all this. No, Dave Chappelle quote? No.
Dave Chappelle quote, he in Bird Revelation, he says that to the comics, he says that you have either an obligation or responsibility to speak recklessly.
Oh,
yeah. And
right.
in quarantine, I've taken that to heart in a very big way. So when I'm out there, I say what I want to say, and I say how I feel. I do it respectfully with understanding maybe there's kids around. I'm not out to harm or upset anybody, but speaking recklessly. If you were to see me out there and you to hear me some of the stuff I say, you'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some dude in a pickup truck rolled over and pulled Ahmaud Arbery on you. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised.
It is, and that's the thing. I mean, it's built into it. It's called reckless. Like, it's not. And it is that it's a choice that my mom called me this morning, and it is a choice we are forced to make as the target demographic You can either A, safety first, because you can make an argument that some people would look at that and go, well, don't be stupid. Like, you can do stand-up. We're not saying don't do stand-up. And when Dave says speak recklessly, he's not saying go and be the poster child of it. But at the same time, you can make the other choice, which is I kind of have an obligation to talk about the thing that is what's going on right now. And you have to make a decision as our demographic, and any demographic, honestly, has the choice between stay safe, be chill, care about the own well-being, or put yourself in the line of fire, but also speak for the thing.
Zero. I'm about to compare us to people I should not be. I have no right to compare.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
You have Kevin Hart energy, and I have Dave Chappelle.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I like that I would be compared to the rich one.
Yeah. Just like, hear me out when I say this. You've watched Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I've watched them all. Yeah.
So when Kevin talks about how like he's not trying to be, he's trying to be inoffensive. He wants everyone to like him, not like him, but you know what I mean. This energy. There's a very positive vibe that comes from Kevin Hart.
He's a very positive dude.
Yeah, super positive guy. And Dave Chappelle, and by the way, my comparison to them is not if skill or quality.
We're very aware of where we stand. If we were them, then we'd be them. We wouldn't even have to preface. But hopefully, we'd like to believe that we get good enough to be in that conversation. Or maybe just good enough to be paid for what we do. Neither here nor there.
But there's an interesting... like there's a yin and yang between those two as well. I would love to see them do a podcast because I think it would have that same energy, the same like light, dark, talking about fun, being light and fluffy and talking about all shit and it.
But if they do it, where will our demographic go?
But it is interesting. There's a freedom. There's a freedom in speaking recklessly. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Like Kevin's under a lot of, I think he might have said this on the Joe Rogan podcast. He can't do that. Not just for the reasons of like he can't do that for him and his family, but like he runs a business. He is the brand. He is the guy who's over Heartbeat Productions. He can't just do that because it affects everybody in his business. He has people on payroll. He has people in offices. If he does something stupid, like the thing that happened with him and the cheat thing, and everything that happened with him and the gay dollhouse thing, like all of that affected his company. And like people had to deal with that. And it's like when you make those concessions, again, and it's all a choice. You can either make the concession to be that guy and you have to sacrifice amount of your freedom in order to be that guy, or you be the free guy, but you're not gonna go as high as far as like public like the opportunities. We got 23 seconds. So this is going to end, and then we're going to start back up, do the whole wrap up. You know the drill. For those of you who don't, we're about to cut off, but I'm going to come right back. So just stick around. We'll be right back. I sound like we're about to cut to commercial. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. Go.
So when it comes to all that, the freedom stuff, I think whenever we go back to whatever normal is.
Whatever normal is.
Yeah, whatever new normal is, that is my intention. That's my goal. That seems to be where I'm happiest. When I was, during all of this quarantine, I'm happy because there is a level of freedom I have never experienced in my life before.
Yeah.
And that's my intention now. It was before it was like, I'm going to build the buddy system. It was Kevin Hart. I'm going to build this community. I'm going to do all this shit. And then what I realized was when the community doesn't give a fuck about you, like, it's like, well, why am I doing this? Yeah. Why? I'm still going to keep building it. I still want, like, I give a shit about the comedy community in Riverside. I want to play for people to perform. But I'm not putting my heart into that. I'm doing that as a strategic thing now. I'm going to build shows and mics.
You're taking it from being like an altruistic, everybody come up thing to a means to an end thing.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Like,
that makes sense.
I'm making the buddy system so that I can have shows for me to fucking perform on.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
I get that, and I respect that. Honestly, I mean, that's first and foremost. Again, it's can't take care of others until you can take care of yourself. But I also understand getting at the point that you've been to where with the level of frustration with dealing with all the people is something that I also have to get in my mind at some point if I'm going to be doing this like that, because it's just a part of the business at a certain point, but not.
Yeah.
You can only not be running your thing for so long. Like, you know, you can only just be the artist. I mean, you can. It's just that's a different path, and I know the path that I'm going down. And like we said, it's like I'm more towards the path of like I'll take that L, like a little bit. I will have like, all right, I'll just I'll just be that jerk who like would burn my business because I want to say what I want to say at a certain point. But cross that bridge when I get to it, if I get to it. But again, no doubts in my mind. It's just time-wise, really wish it would pick up. But that's just me. Anywho, what was I saying? Yeah, but that is good. It's good to hear that all that is working out. The experimenting with, I mean, you weren't really experimenting at this point. At this point, you just kind of knew. But again, I hope that you do stay safe out there. I don't want any harm to befall you, because then this would just be the Z podcast, and that'd be really sad. Just be like, okay, I guess I'll play light and dark. So what happened today, Zero? I mean, stuff was cool.
We have to establish this now. Okay, if I die out there.
Okay. I get all your material. Cool. We got it. We got a verbal confirmation, you guys.
Right.
I get all of Aaron's stuff.
What?
And I'm going to wreck it. I'm going to just drag it through the mud. I'm going to make it sound like nothing happened. You guys, I'm just... This is my impression of me doing your stand-up. You guys, like, ever been stabbed by a Nazi? You know?
You made this something.
Here I was minding my business, and then the Nazi was like, wait a minute, you ain't me. Ah, oh, no. You guys ever notice how black people speak? But really, it's not that different when you think about how Southern white people speak.
Do I sound that goofy in your head?
This is me doing. This is how much I'm going to ruin it. I'm going to throw it into a fire.
If I die out there, I guess from what should I have for my funeral? What would be like a good, maybe a documentary? Can you make a documentary?
Oh, I mean, I could. Oh man, I shouldn't have said anything because I can do it. The problem is now it's on video, and now
you have to sit through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I walked myself into. Now I would have to do it because nobody else has the skill or wants to. And I do have all the material is there. I mean, you put all your thoughts in the world into a podcast, and I would have to watch every episode and still. Hello, my thing backs out at random, but I would have to distill it down into the core of what it is, which is not really that hard. But it's like I'm gonna have to. I was already watching it, but when things become an obligation, where it's like, all right, I gotta watch every episode, and then this one seems pretty important. All right, this one seems pretty important. He said apologies in this one. Should I leave out the one where he's kind of like comics are being sucky? Yeah, probably. Maybe he's yelling at Aaliyah again. All right, I'll leave that one out.
Have you really been listening to ACMM?
Yeah.
Oh, like how?
I pretty much exclusively listen over YouTube. It's just the easiest one for me. Now I used to listen to it on Podbean, but I don't know. It's right next to our podcast, so I was like, I'll listen to it. So yeah, I listen pretty consistent, and I can't say I listen to all of them or like I listen to the short ones for the most part. The longer ones now, I've been kind of in and out. Sometimes I finish them as a whole. Sometimes I pop in and out, depending on where I am with it. But yeah, I am listening.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's mostly the curiosity. It's the like, yeah, Aaron's just gonna say his thoughts, and I like people, so let's learn some more about Aaron. What was it? So yeah, I have enough. Yeah, if you die, there's more than enough information to cut together your thoughts, your stand-up. Yeah, I got enough material that I could. Is there a song you would want in there?
Oh, it has to be the Buddy System song.
Really? You want that as your death video song?
I don't, but it has to be. Like, for the...
I'm gonna feel so gross because that's like you're gonna have a good day, and all that. Like that's really morbid. Like you're you're dead, and you're dead in a tragic way, probably, most
It's,
likely.
and then you can
I'm gonna
take
make you
this.
such a martyr. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, you can take this clip of me. We'll put it on a big old projector while people are not crying and laughing,
Yeah.
and it's me talking about how like if I die, right, and then it's actually happening. It's gonna be perfect.
It's gonna be so meta.
Yeah,
I'm,
it'll be good.
I'm gonna put it, but I'm gonna put it at the beginning, and then I'm gonna have it roll all the way through, and then I'll put this as the behind the scenes, like me explaining how I'm lining it out. You're gonna be a martyr, bro.
This
But
has gotten
you know what's really messed up? I'm going to have to cut this part because the media is going to take this part and make it seem like you were the type of dude that was doing it to be a martyr.
I don't want to fucking die.
Yeah, but see, it's good you said that. It's good. Now, the thing is, it's okay, line out all the things, which also makes it seem like we're lining out all the things. It's so meta because they could take any part of this and cut it into whatever they want it to be. And the super paranoid side of my brain is like, okay, how do you convince people, but not convince people, just show people that the truth is he didn't want to die, but he was prepared. He wasn't prepared to die. He was like, if it happens, which I know it's a possibility, then this is something that people should know, is that he was so aware of it that like that's how much it was like oh yeah, that could happen. That black men
Also,
are always under the thing.
also, I'm dead at that point, so I kind of don't give a shit if they want to spin it how they want to
I
spin
know, but I'm gonna be in charge of that video, and I feel like if I don't do it justice, people are gonna be like, I did something, and I had a thing, and then I'm gonna be like, guys, I don't really even like. Have you seen my stuff? How often do I talk about this stuff? Like, it's not. That's
This
not
is
my
not
thing. Have you watched the first episode where I explain how like that has not been my experience?
yeah.
But yeah,
I'm about to go do street stand up. So
I wish you luck.
thanks, man. I will talk to you later.
All right, let's. I should probably do the outro. So, guys, that was A to Z. I should have done this while he was here because I'm going to have to edit this so I'm in the center. And I really don't like doing more editing than I have to, but it's fine. Thank you for listening, watching another episode of A to Z. My name's Zero Rimson. You can find me at _KR Anime on Instagram. You can find Aaron, the guy who's gone now, at Aaron Chase 91 on Instagram. And you can find this podcast on the Buddy System YouTube page, Buddy System Comedy. You'll find that. You'll find our EP, the A to Z EP, where we made music. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Nope. Could have sworn I was gonna think of an intro. This was a pretty nice episode, but I said intro, I meant outro. I'm doing a lot of talking. I'll probably just cut myself off. All right, you guys. Thanks. Bye.